Recently, to celebrate the centenary, the Royal College of Midwives published Touched by a Midwife. Produced to the highest standard, this flagship publication beautifully illustrates the challenges, triumphs and joys experienced by midwives in their daily working lives. Lavishly illustrated with a moving series of specially commissioned black and white photographs, this documentary record clearly and artistically demonstrates the vital role today's midwives play. Touched by a Midwife is a unique photography book of midwifery practice across the UK, with photographs by internationally renowned photographer Nancy Durrell-McKenna. Touched by a Midwife is both fascinating and poignant. I'm in Hampstead to talk to Nancy about her experience working on this unique publication. Nancy, Touched by a Midwife has become such a popular book in a short period of time. Are you surprised at how popular the book is?
No, because of its subject. You know, midwifery is just the most wonderful profession. And for me, I feel way back in another lifetime, maybe I was a midwife once upon a time. I just think that as individual women and men, they exude such empathy, and I think for all those reasons, hope that the caring, the ability to deal one-on-one in times of stress and great hurriedness in the world we live in. I think that all those things make a great midwife, and therefore hopefully are reflected in the photographs that were taken.
How did the initial idea for the book come about?
In 1983, I was asked to do the photographs for a book with Sheila Kitzinger called Woman's Experience of Sex, and it looked at women's sexuality from birth to death. And the first birth was with Carolyn Flint, in fact a former president of the RCM. And Carolyn is known for her wonderful superlatives, but for me, looking at this birth, I thought the relationship between the midwife and the mother giving birth and her partner were so exceptional. And I thought, if and when I give birth, this is how I would like to give it. And I did have those experiences with both of my children. And I think it was just that very amazing compassion that I felt, that I thought I had to continue in this area of work. So I went on to do books of Miriam Stoppard. I did my own book. I did a film. And all of that work for me has just emphasized, again, I think, the spirit of midwifery. And I think having a good midwife for many women and their partners changes their whole life's experience, because I think, with the exception of possibly making love and conception, birth has to be the most extraordinary feeling, an event for any woman. So I think to have a good midwife, one's blessed.
Photographed some truly memorable moments for the book. Let's talk about the photographs that are special to you.
In truth, I think every photograph in this book is special, and that is why it was included. But obviously there are some that for me are really memorable. And I'm actually going to start with the last photograph in the book. And it's Becky the midwife who is from the Albany Birth Center, and with her holding twins that she helped Faith to deliver. And what I love about this relationship is really the relationship between Faith, the mother, and Becky, the midwife. And Faith was so moved by the experience of being able to give birth vaginally to these twins, having had a cesarean section for her first child, that she said at the end, "I want to stand on the rooftop and tell the world how wonderful my midwife is." And to me, that is the reaction, really, that you want from every mother. You want that mother to have that relationship with her midwife. And so often it doesn't happen. But that, to me, embodies what we want in good midwifery. Another birth that I really loved filming was a water birth at the Edgware Birth Center. And there's something, first of all, about water that's very, very beautiful. It's the quietness of that particular scene. It allows the mother in a birthing pool to move around. She doesn't have that pressure on her perineum. And I think as a birth, it was a very quiet birth for Janice and her midwife, Kay. And the photograph that I'm looking at is this lovely moment where Janice is holding her newborn and she's looking up into the midwife's eyes, and there's just this great moment of joy. There's a real joyful photograph here of Karen the midwife and Rachel, and she's just gone in. The baby is now about 6 months old, and she's in the area and she thinks, I'll just drop in and find out how Rachel is. So she gets down on the floor and she plays with the baby and really again brings out of Rachel, is everything going all right? Are you okay these days? And again, that's that lovely moment where a midwife can kind of come out of the professional box and just be a friend and be able to help women who are sometimes have that need. The first photograph in the book was, I just love being with Kath in Wales, Kath the midwife. And Kath is somebody who understands humor as well as being a very serious and a very experienced midwife. And it's just, you know, she's gone to this mom, it's her second second pregnancy, and she's out in the garden and she's just having a good old bellyache of a laugh with her. And it was just, she again just calmed the woman down who had been quite anxious and said, you know, they'd had their little laughter together, and she said, okay, let's just go in now and we'll do our antenatal. And again, for me, it was just that lovely moment where how laughter with humor can calm someone, because, you know, women are very vulnerable when they're pregnant. For many women, it's a very vulnerable time, and certainly when you go into labor, you want that person who looks at you and looks you in the eyes. There was a particularly interesting photographic session for me with the midwife Hilary in the Dune of May in Scotland. And Hilary was working in really a community, I suppose today we would call it eco-friendly community. 5 or 6 families who had decided to live in yurts, a type of Siberian tent, really. No electricity, no running water, but it is a woman's right to determine how she wishes to give birth and where she wishes to give birth. So Hilary, depending upon the time of day when that woman gave birth, would have to trek in about 20 minutes, And she had delivered a year earlier with one of these women who delivered in the middle of the night, and that was done by a candlelight.
Clearly, motherhood and midwifery is a subject very dear to you. What is next for Nancy Durrell-McKenna?
I now run a charity. I'm executive director of a charity called Safe Hands for Mothers, known as Safe Hands. And it's really all about midwifery, because what we're trying to do is to reduce maternal mortality and infant mortality by training more safe and skilled hands. Sadly, most of the work is in sub-Saharan Africa. I say sadly from the point of view of that's where maternal mortality is highest. We're currently working in Ethiopia, and if we look at the lifetime risk of a mother who can die in pregnancy and birth, and you look at something like the UK, 1 in 5,500 mothers has that risk. Where we're working in Ethiopia, in our region, it's 1 in 10. Is a beautiful moment in this book where a midwife actually looks into the eyes of a woman in birth who is very frightened and feels that she can't go on. Close your eyes, get inside those contractions, and we'll do this together. Just somebody realizing, let's just hold this woman's face, let's get right into her and work through that pain. And that again is such beautiful midwifery.
Shot from varied perspectives of midwives, mothers and families, Touched by Midwife provides a privileged insight into the full range of woman-centered holistic care at which midwives excel and other professions envy.